The detention wing stank of burned ozone and raw terror. Corporal Jack Grinned hung suspended in midair, locked in place by magnetized restraints biting into his wrists and ankles. His combat suit was torn, scorched, and soaked with dried blood from the ambush that had collapsed into chaos 3 days earlier. What was supposed to be a routine extraction had turned into a disaster the moment Krillian enforcement forces closed in. They'd taken Jack, and the kid he'd been assigned to protect. Jack shifted his gaze toward the smaller containment cell across the corridor. Inside, Cub Sarai sat motionless, watching the room with glowing amber eyes that reflected the dim lighting. Those eyes never missed anything. Sarai wasn't human. He was Valkyrie, an apex predator species the Coalition had only recently encountered. Their homeworld was classified as a death planet so extreme it made Earth look pleasant by comparison. Still, Sarai was young by Valkyrie standards, barely past adolescence. And Jack had been designated his diplomatic escort when everything went wrong. The Krillians believed they had captured high-value prisoners. They had absolutely no idea what they were actually holding. One of the enforcers slithered closer, its chitinous face splitting into something that resembled a grin. It raised a stun rod that crackled with blue energy. "Human," it hissed, pressing close. "Your government will pay generously for your return. But first, you'll tell us where the Coalition fleet is stationed." Jack spat blood onto the floor. "Go to hell." The stun rod slammed into his ribs. Agony detonated through his nervous system as electricity surged, locking every muscle in place. He clenched his jaw, refusing to scream. Through blurred vision, Jack saw Sarai rise to his feet. Something had changed. Sarai no longer stood like the curious youth who had once peppered Jack with questions about human customs or devoured earth candy as if it were priceless treasure. Now he held himself the way his ancestors must have before a hunt, still, focused, lethal. Again, the lead enforcer ordered. The second strike was worse. Jack's body convulsed violently, and this time the pain ripped a cry from his throat. White light flooded his vision before darkness crept in at the edges. He tasted copper. The air reeked of ozone. "Stop." The single word echoed through the block. Calm. Clear. Final. Every Krillian froze. The voice had come from Sarai's cell, spoken in flawless Coalition standard, but layered with something deeper. Something ancient. It wasn't a request. It was a certainty. The enforcer turned, laughing as it approached the cub's cell. "Tell me, little hunter," it sneered, "does it amuse you to watch your protector suffer?" Sarai tilted his head slightly. What crossed his face wasn't rage. Rage was messy, impulsive. This was calculation, cold and precise, born of a species evolved to kill prey far larger than itself. "He shielded me," Sarai said quietly, tracing clawed patterns along the transparent barrier. "When your soldiers opened fire on our shuttle, he stepped in front of me. Took 3 plasma rounds meant for my body." The enforcer scoffed. "Humans are weak. Emotional." "No," Sarai replied softly. A faint smile curved his mouth. Jack recognized it instantly. He'd seen it once before, when Sarai watched a documentary about Earth predators, fascinated by wolves and their loyalty. Humans are pack hunters. Social creatures. On my world, we respect that. His eyes narrowed. We fear it. The enforcer stepped closer, stun rod humming. You're trapped, cub. What exactly do you think we should fear? Sarai's grin widened, revealing serrated teeth built to tear through armor and bone. You made him bleed. You made him scream, Sarai continued evenly. And Valkyrie never forget. We remember every scent. Every face. Every voice. For the first time, the enforcer hesitated. My people believe in balance, Sarai said conversationally. A life saved creates harmony. A life threatened creates debt. The enforcer spat. Empty threats from a child. Sarai placed one clawed palm against the energy barrier. The field flickered. His claws began to glow, heat radiating outward. Valkyrie physiology allowed their natural weapons to superheat under stress, hot enough to slice through most known alloys. These cells weren't designed for us, Sarai said calmly. The barrier sparked, and failed. Sarai stepped out with the unhurried confidence of a predator that had never doubted the outcome. The enforcers raised their weapons. They never fired. What followed lasted less than 15 seconds. Jack had fought in wars. He'd survived battles that killed better soldiers. But watching Sarai move was like watching physics surrender. He didn't fight, he dismantled. When it ended, 4 Krillians lay alive but broken. Sarai stood over the leader, claws poised. Let's see how long they survive with 1 kidney, he mused. Kid, Jack croaked. Don't. Sarai hesitated. The hunter warred with the diplomat. Then he stepped back. You're right, Corporal. Balance doesn't require becoming them. He melted Jack's restraints just enough to free him. Humans taught me something better than revenge, Sarai said warmly. What's that? Jack asked, slumping forward. That mercy is terrifying. Jack laughed, slinging an arm over Sarai's shoulder as they limped away. As alarms wailed behind them, Jack realized the galaxy feared humanity's resilience, but hadn't considered what happened when humans taught that lesson to others. And the future suddenly looked very different.